3 cars were following them. His passenger was injured. The radio wasn't working. Marcus knew he had only 2 choices, run or fight. But nobody knew he had been part of 127 operations. Nobody knew his former identity. Marcus Coleman had been driving for Uber for 3 years. A reliable driver with a 4.98 rating, always punctual, always polite. His Honda Civic was spotless. He offered mints and phone chargers, and most importantly, he never asked questions. Perfect for late-night rides in downtown Chicago. What his passengers didn't know was that Marcus Coleman had died 8 years ago, officially anyway. The man driving the Uber was David Santos, a widowed father of 2, working 12-hour shifts to pay rent and put food on the table. At least, that's what everyone believed. Tuesday night, 11:47 p.m. Marcus received a pickup request from an upscale hotel downtown. The passenger rating was 4.2, not great, but not terrible enough to decline. He needed every fare to make his monthly car payment. When he arrived at the Marriott, a young woman rushed toward his car, mid-20s, business attire, but something was wrong. Her jacket was torn, her makeup smeared, and she kept looking over her shoulder. "Are you David?" she asked, using his Uber alias. "Yes, ma'am." "Sarah Mitchell?" She nodded and quickly got in the back seat. "Please, just drive. Anywhere. I'll pay extra." Marcus started the engine. In his rearview mirror, he noticed 2 men in dark suits exiting the hotel lobby. They were scanning the street, clearly looking for someone. "Where would you like to go, miss?" I don't know. Somewhere safe. Away from here." Her hands were shaking. Marcus had seen this behavior before in another life. Fear, real, immediate danger. "Are you in some kind of trouble?" he asked gently. Sarah looked up, meeting his eyes in the mirror. "They killed my partner. They think I have something, but I don't. I don't even know what they're looking for." Marcus felt the familiar tension in his shoulders, the heightened awareness that had kept him alive through 7 years of undercover work. But that was the past. Now he was just a driver. "We should call the police," he suggested. "No." Sarah's voice was sharp with panic. "They are the police. Some of them anyway. I don't know who to trust." As they drove through downtown, Marcus noticed the black SUV following 3 cars behind. Professional distance, rotating positions at each turn. Whoever was tracking them knew what they were doing. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "They're following us. Don't look back. Just drive normal." Marcus had taught this exact technique to new recruits, back when he was Special Agent Coleman. The irony wasn't lost on him. They continued for 20 minutes, taking random turns through residential neighborhoods. The SUV maintained its distance, occasionally dropping back or switching with a second vehicle, a full surveillance team. At a red light, Sarah leaned forward. "I need you to know something. My real name isn't Sarah Mitchell. I'm Dr. Elena Rodriguez. I work for the CDC. 3 days ago, my research partner, Dr. James Chen, was found dead in our lab." Marcus kept his expression neutral, but his mind was racing. CDC research, dead partner. This wasn't random crime. "What kind of research?" he asked. "Bioweapons defense. We were working on antidotes for engineered toxins. Someone broke into our lab and stole samples, but they also took our research data. Everything." The light turned green. Marcus checked his mirrors again. Now there were 3 vehicles in rotation. This was bigger than he'd thought. "Dr. Rodriguez," he said carefully, "I'm going to ask you to trust me. How dangerous is what they stole?" In the wrong hands, they could poison the city's water supply. Hundreds of thousands could die. Marcus made a decision that would change everything. He took a sudden right turn into an alley, then immediately left into a parking garage. Years of evasive driving training kicked in automatically. What are you doing? Elena asked, alarmed. Getting us somewhere safe so we can figure this out properly. As they climbed to the third level of the garage, Marcus parked behind a concrete pillar, hidden from the entrance. He turned off the engine and faced Elena. Dr. Rodriguez, I need you to listen carefully. I'm not just an Uber driver. Elena's eyes widened. What do you mean? My real name is Marcus Coleman, former FBI Counterterrorism Division. I've been in witness protection for 8 years. Witness protection? From what? Marcus hesitated. This was the conversation he'd hoped never to have again. I helped bring down a domestic terrorism cell in 2016. Some of their associates were never caught. The Bureau gave me a new identity to keep me safe. Elena stared at him. So you really are? Former federal agent, yes, and right now you're in the middle of something that's way bigger than stolen research. Marcus's phone buzzed. Unknown number, he answered cautiously. Agent Coleman? Said a voice he recognized immediately. It's been a long time. Deputy Director Harrison Mitchell, Marcus's former boss. Harrison, how did you get this number? We've been monitoring the situation. Dr. Rodriguez is carrying information that several hostile nations would kill for. We need to bring her in. She says some of the people chasing her are law enforcement. That's complicated. There's been a breach in multiple agencies. We don't know how deep it goes. Marcus looked at Elena, who was listening intently. Where do you want to meet? Millennium Park, the Bean. 1 hour, come alone. She stays with me, Harrison. Non-negotiable. A pause. Understood. And Marcus, watch your back. We have reason to believe the leak goes very high up. After hanging up, Marcus started the engine. We're going to meet my former boss. He'll have resources to protect you properly. As they descended through the parking garage, Elena asked, Why are you helping me? You could have just dropped me off and walked away. Marcus considered the question as they emerged onto the street. The surveillance vehicles were gone, for now. 8 years ago, I walked away from this life because I thought I was done fighting other people's battles. But some battles find you anyway. The drive to Millennium Park took 30 minutes through back streets and service roads. Marcus used every evasion technique he remembered, constantly checking for tails. When they arrived, Deputy Director Mitchell was waiting by the Cloudgate sculpture exactly as promised. He looked older, grayer, but still carried himself with the authority Marcus remembered. Dr. Rodriguez, Mitchell said as they approached. I'm Deputy Director Mitchell, FBI. We're here to help. How do I know you're really FBI? Elena asked suspiciously. Mitchell showed his credentials, but Elena shook her head. Anyone can fake those after what I've been through. Marcus stepped forward. Elena, this is the man who saved my life 8 years ago. If Harrison says he's here to help, he is. Mitchell nodded gratefully. Dr. Rodriguez, we know what was stolen from your lab. The bioweapon samples and your research data are currently being offered for sale on the dark web. We have 48 hours before the auction closes. Auction? Elena looked horrified. International buyers, state sponsors of terrorism, private military contractors, even domestic extremist groups. Your antidote research is worth millions to people planning attacks. Marcus felt the familiar weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. What do you need from us, Harrison? The stolen data is incomplete. Dr. Rodriguez has the final component memorized, the synthesis process that makes the antidotes effective. Without her knowledge, the stolen research is useless. Elena looked between the two men. You want me as bait? We want you safe, Mitchell corrected. But yes, we need to use the fact that they need you alive." "What's the plan?" Marcus asked. Mitchell handed him a secure phone. "Safe house first. Then we coordinate with CDC to verify what's missing. After that," he looked directly at Marcus, "I need Agent Coleman back just for this operation." Marcus looked at Elena, who was watching him intently. In her eyes, he saw the same determination he'd once carried. The desire to stop something terrible from happening, regardless of personal cost. "I've been David Santos for 8 years, Marcus said quietly. "I have kids who know me by that name. A life that doesn't include getting shot at." "I understand," Mitchell replied. "But right now, you're the only agent Dr. Rodriguez trusts, and she's the only person who can stop this." Elena spoke up. "I don't want to force you into anything, but those bioweapons, if they're used, people will die. Innocent people." Marcus closed his eyes for a moment, seeing his daughter's face. She was 12 now, just starting to understand that her father worked hard to provide for their family. She didn't need to know that he'd once risked his life to protect strangers, but she also didn't need to live in a world where terrorists had access to engineered bioweapons. 48 hours, Marcus said finally. "After that, I go back to being David Santos, Uber driver." Mitchell smiled. "Welcome back, Agent Coleman." As they walked toward Mitchell's waiting vehicle, Elena fell into step beside Marcus. "Thank you. I know you didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did," Marcus replied. "Some things are more important than staying hidden." The next 48 hours would test every skill Marcus had learned in his 7 years as a federal agent. But for the first time in 8 years, he felt like himself again. The man in the Honda Civic was gone. Agent Coleman was back. Final question. From which city are you watching this video? If you enjoyed this story of hidden heroes among us, subscribe to discover more tales of ordinary people with extraordinary pasts.